Tantabus, Mark II, Chapter 4, Glitched, Isolated. Lyra was shopping at the Ponyville Marketplace, and it was positively, absolutely, perfectly normal day. Each and every single possible way a day could be positively, absolutely, normally, perfectly normal. No, really, it was. Seriously. Twilight looked around, up, down, everywhere else she could think. There were no aliens in the sky, nothing was threatening to flood Ponyville, no monsters were attacking, the sky was blue, the grass was green, the grass was growing, the birds were flying, the sun was shining, every sound sounded right, all the colors looked right, everything was right side up. There seemed to be nothing out of place. Everything was normal, and this was a dream. So that wasn't normal. She looked again, nothing continued to be out of place. She closed her eyes, opened them, looked again. Nothing continued to be out of place. She closed her eyes tightly, rubbing them vigorously, hit her head a few times, opened them up, looked again. Ponyville obstinately persisted in its mutiny. Not even dreams need to be dreamlike, or even slightly unusual, said Luna, noticing Twilight's behavior. Improbable as it may seem, dreams can, on occasion, be perfectly ordinary. Does it not defeat the point of dreams? Asked Twilight. This was kind of disappointing. She'd been hoping for, she wasn't sure what, but something more. Dreams do not necessarily have a point. They are flighty things, going wherever their whims take them. Luna looked around and frowned. I will admit, though, that whatever whim would take a dream here is a somewhat odd whim. The Tantabus flew out of a hole in the sky and picked itself up. So, it said, what kind of stared it, looking around its shell drop of yes, Twilight. Not very exciting. The Tantabus blinked a few times and hung its head in its coat. It's so, it whispered, plain, so dull, so simplistic, so inane. Oh, hush, said Luna. You're going to change it anyways. Stop whining. I know, sighed the Tantabus. It's just, look at it, it shuddered. Anyway, it looked at Lyra, who was in the middle of buying some oranges for a few seconds, then grinned a little. This should be interesting. It blurred, briefly covering the whole air, then reformed. Everything looked exactly the same. Twilight looked around, then at the Tantabus. You want this to be a surprise, don't you? The Tantabus nodded. I'm working on my transitions. Thanks, Cherryberry, said Lyra. I've been waiting to get these oranges for ages. She turned away from the stall and put a hoof on the cobblestones. The road caved in beneath her, revealing a black hole beneath. It expanded rapidly, quickly swallowing everything in sight as Lyra fell, shrieking. Everything gradually got darker and darker, quieter and quieter. Eventually, Lyra's scream vanished and faded into the darkness. Then the music came in. Unlike the previous ones, this particular dream had a soundtrack, with the main melody played by a guitar that managed to be ominous and swinging at the same time, backed by a large orchestra. It set up even before the environment had fully formed. Dun 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 dun. In the end, with the beat, lights started coming on. The illuminated colossal missile silo filled with all catwalks and control panels. And beaming lights you could imagine. Technicians were milling around the place, checking clipboards and wires and vents. Frequently flanked by guards, the silo doors were closed and very, very far up. They must have been deep inside a mountain. Everything in the silo was cradling a giant missile, proudly embossed with the symbol of Equestria. And strapped to the side of the missile right below the warhead was Lyra. Twilight cocked her head. This is a good dream? It will be, said the Tantabus. Luna stared at Lyra for a few months, then said to Luna, you know, the ponies we've run each night have some very weird tastes in happy dreams. Quite. The three of them were standing on a catwalk near the peak of the missile. Lyra was only a few Feet above them, cuffed to the missile by riveted strips of metal across her hooves. Not even 10 feet away from them was a panel that had, among them, all the other beings. Other things, a big red button, glowing and everything. An earth pony mare, tall and thin and drawn, stood near them. She was dressed in an appropriately uniform that was almost like the dress uniform of the Royal Guard, but looked to be a bit more elaborate, with some extra filigree and ornaments that were strictly necessary. She looked over everything with a Tantabus authoritative eye, and carried with her an air of superiority. Anybody simply walking into the room would see she was the leader. She pressed the big red button above her. The silo doors opened slowly and groaned. "So, on a trot," said Lyra in a remarkable lace voice. "Remind me again how attaching me to this missile is going to help you devastate Griffinstone." The mayor, on a trot, laughed lightly, her voice surprisingly alluring. "It won't, actually. The missile will launch with you, the ponies." She pressed the button next to the big red one, and a calming, cool voice filled the silo. "Missile launch in T-minus 2 minutes. Please exit the silo." Luna shuffled on her hooves and looked up. "Technically," she muttered, "I've seen enough. I can see where this is going, so we should just probably finish up here and leave, but you still want to see what actually happens because your interest's been piqued," said the Tantabus heavily. "Yes," said almost guiltily. "Which I suppose is a good mark on you as a storyteller." Tantabus pumped its hoof in the air. "Yes! You won't regret it. This one's good." Lyra strained against her bones, but they were too strong, and had an inhibitor ring had been placed on her heart to prevent her from using magic. "You're making a mistake, a big mistake. Now that you have me, she'll come after you all the more, and nothing's going to stop her." Lyra smiled. Might actually won if you let me go." On Trot's side, "No, I'm sorry to say that your friend won't be coming to anytime soon. She's having a bit from burnout at the moment," she sneered. "No one is coming to save you. No one. You should never say things like that when you're a megalomaniac supervillain. You're just asking for trouble." Right on cue, a vent exploded above them, Creed flying out and banging loudly on the catwalks all the way down. Steam spewed everywhere. Everybody not strapped to a missile turned away, shielding their eyes. Under that cover, the figure of a mayor leapt out from the vent. At the same time, the music picked up, turning triumphantly and brassy. The smoke cleared, and everybody turned to look at the vent, but they only saw a grappling hook wedged in there, a cable leading down. They followed the cable down there, not 3 feet above the floor, hanging from a hook strapped to one of her forelegs was... Luna blinked. "Sweetie Drops?" Twilight cocked her head. "Sweetie Drops? Her name's Bonbon." Luna blinked again and cocked. She just looked like some funny I knew who worked for me much, but I was mistaken. They look similar, but they're not the same. I don't know her." "Nope." She shook her head. Twilight shot a long glance on Luna, then turned back to the event unfolding in front of them. Missile launch in T-minus 1 minute, 30 seconds. Please exit the silo." "Zur!" yelled on the truck, horrified. "Hey there," said Bonbon, flashing grin. "I thought I'd drop in." She flicked her hoof. The flick traveled up the cable, dislodging her grappling and depositing her neatly on the catwalk. "Boo," said Lyra. "That's once obvious. Why didn't you add hanging around in here too?" "How in the world did you escape?" screamed Trot, slowly backing away. Bonbon winked. "Sorry, trade secret." She began whirling the grappling hook threateningly. "Now, I'll give you one. Gods, kill her!" "And you've wasted it already," sighed Bonbon. "Of course." She released the grappling hook, sending it flying at Trot. At the last moment, Trot ducked, and right behind her, in the hook's path, was Lyra. Bonbon yanked back at exactly the right moment the hook stopped dead right away, is just placed smack into the inhibitor around Lyra's horn and shatter it without harming her. Bonbon towards on the truck before she could make a move. The guards on the truck finally arrived and attempted to dog the collar, so on the truck hopped in place on the sidelines, egging them on. Meanwhile, Lyra, being undoing the rivets with her magic, the music began low, fast-paced tense. Missile launch at T-1 minute. Please exit the silo. I never really asked, said Twilight as she watched the fight. How do you know what to change dreams to? You said something about feeling it, but that wasn't really clear. Tantabus frowned and scratched his head. You get sensations of what they like and don't like. Feelings, just kind of general likes and dislikes list, I guess. Like this pony, she liked that pony. For some reason, there are really strong feelings of super spying or being attracted to her. Twilight never noticed Luna suddenly staring very hard in the opposite direction, so I just stuck them together and voila. Spy thriller starring the two of them. And she's okay with being the damsel in distress? Asked Twilight as she ducked a guard on her head just drop kicked. Oh sure, said the Tantabus, waving up. I mean, look at her. All it was for her to get her magic back, and she started freeing herself. Indeed, Lyra's Beckus had already been freed. She was well on her way to release another one. That's the Damsel who tries to escape her predicament. And then there's Damsel who just screams and lets herself get captured. She's being the former, and they're a lot less annoying. Was that something you knew from your fans of her, or do you just guess? Half and half, to be honest, shrugged the Tantabus. I know some things put two and two together and hope for the best. It seems to be turning out alright. Well, they turned to Luna. Out of curiosity, do your powers work the same way when you feel that what opponents do or don't want? In essence, yes, said Luna. It's a bit more complicated than that, but close enough. And while I don't agree entirely with the Tantabus's assumptions, it's not a bad idea for Lyra to play the part of damsel in distress for a game like this. Being an average pony in this situation, average ponies tend to not last long. Lyra's final restraint dropped away and she fell to the floor panting. Although at this point, damsel out of distress might be more appropriate. Lyra rolled her hooves, trying to get circulation going again. After a moment, she lunged at Onatrot, who was still engrossed in Bonbon's fight. It seemed to be going near Bonbon, saving her, but Onatrot made no attempt to help her guards. Lyra hit Onatrot in the side with all her might and dropped to the floor. Onatrot completely unmoved. Ow, Lyra muttered as she got back rubbing her nose. You were supposed to... Onatrot struck Lyra hard across the face. She staggered back and fell back down onto her back. Before she could roll over, Onatrot had planted her foot on her chest, keeping her from rising. There was glaring daggers at her. Onatrot began pressing down, squeezing the breath out of Lyra. You. She has been a thorn in my side since. Bonbon, having just won her brawl, dropped and kicked her in the face. Onatrot flew across the catwalk, and then slammed into the missile next to the main control panel, hitting her head particularly hard. And the moment she was stunned, Bonbon sprinted over, grabbed her head between her hooves, and smashed her head into the big red button. Far, far above them, the silo doors began grinding shut, blocking out the sun. The sliding sound of metal on metal was enough to shake Onatrot's bird. No, she mumbled. She blinked, confused with, No! She threw Bonbon away and dove at the big red button. With her magic, Lyra grabbed one of the beams that held her to the missile and threw it at Onatrot. It hit her in the left foreleg and smashed them both into the missile before she could hit the button. A little more magic and the beam was bonded with the missile. Onatrot was trapped. No! She screamed. She reached out for the control panel, trying to at least hit the big red button one last time and let the missile launch, but it was in vain. The controls were yards away, well out of reach. The music blared a final triumphant blast and then went silent. Thanks, gasped Lyra. Can we disarm the missile? Missile launch in T-minus 30 seconds. Please exit the saddle. Not enough time, said Bonbon. Already hooking her grappling hook over the edge of the catwalk. Gotta just run. Climb on. Lyra wrapped her forehooves around Bonbon's neck. The two then jumped over the edge. Bonbon let the blind play out as far as she dared, propelling them down the silo. Whenever they risked hitting something, Bonbon would just kick out it and push it away. Twilight's group followed them without even actually moving. steadily being on a lower and lower catwalks as Bonbon and Lyra passed them. They reached the bottom of the floor soon enough. Lyra dropped to the ground with a flick of her horn. Bonbon recalled the grappling hook. So, Lyra asked, still fighting, how did you escape? Always knew you would be. Less talking, said Bonbon, or gaining away from the missile that's going to explode in here. Move. She pushed Lyra down one final walkway towards the door out of the silo. Before they were halfway, the door suddenly snapped shut. Missile launched in T-minus 50 seconds. The silo has been sealed. Crap, muttered Lyra. Bonbon kept pointing. Oh, don't worry, I got this. We just need to keep moving. By the time they reached the door, low rumblings were coming from the missile. T-minus 10 seconds. You sure you got this? Said Lyra. 9. Positive, said Bonbon. She leaned in to the control panel next door and wigged it away. She saw what lay beyond the panel. She blinked and gulped. Okay, well, this is a lot of wires. She reached into the gap and began fiddling with them. 8. The rumblings were louder, slowly growing and overpowering weaker sounds. Twilight leaned next to the Tantabus and stayed, whispered. Did she really just do all that in 1 second? Apparently. 7. Sweat began dripping from Bonbon's belt. Come on, she muttered. 6. What's taking so long? Yelled Lyra. 5. They could barely hear her. The rumblings had grown to roars. There's a lot of wiring in here. Shut up, I'm working, snapped Bonbon. 4. I think this might be the longest minute in the history of minutes, said Twilight. Maybe, yeah. 3. Bonbon snorted, stepped away from the wires. Frick this, she murmured. And Jova hooked straight through the delicate range of wires. And sparks lit. Most importantly, the door opened everything long, straight, away behind them. 2. The rocket engines were going. And now we run, said Bonbon, and they did, bolting down the hallway as fast as the hooks could carry them. 1. The hallway was empty. All staff had nowhere to be that was around here. Plenty of halls branched off to the sides, but Lyra and Bonbon just kept heading straight. The other end of the hallway, a rectangular patch of light in the distance, seemed miles away, but they kept running, galloping towards the white smoke like their lives depended on it, mostly because they did. 0. Ignition. Boom! The roar formed from the rockets were firing was indescribably loud, eliminating all of the noises in favor of itself. That was before all the walls caught it and bounced it back on itself, doubling and redoubling it all over and over and over. Behind them, massive balls of fire flew from the rockets. The heat washed away down the hallway like water through a funnel. The flaming exhaust built up on itself and began filling the silo. Ordinarily, this wouldn't be a problem. Everything inside the silo had been successfully heat-proofed against us. Ordinarily, one of the containment doors wasn't open. As Bonbon ran like they never done before. The fire from the silo escaped the only place it could, the hallway right behind it. It was faster than them, but they had a good head started, and the exit to the hallway was much closer than it had been. When we jump, panted Bonbon, grab onto me. Jump! Echoes Lyra. What do you? The exit of the hallway to an underground harbor. The police of the patrol boats were inside it. On the opposite side of the harbor was a large opening leading out to open ocean. A catwalk on Lyra and Bonbon's level, several stories above water level, ran around the 3 remaining walls. Lights hung from grinders embedded in the roof of the cavern. There were guards around, but none of them had noticed the 2 yet. Twilight whistled softly. Wow, they really went all out on this. You really went all out on this. That's what I do, said the Tantabus. His voice was humble, but Twilight could tell it was barely concealing a snark. Do you ever get tired, asked Luna? I know that I can sometimes feel strained when I repeatedly change your dreams. This is rather complicated one, so if anything would strict limits of abilities, it would be this. I suppose I feel a little bit achy, said the Tantabus, rolling its shoulders, but not too bad. Besides, making ponies happy is more important. Now quiet, I want to see where this goes. Jump, Bonbon yelled, and jumped. Lyra remembered to jump too and wrapped her forelegs around Bonbon's neck again. With a quick twirl, Bonbon threw her grappling hook forward and up, caught on a grider, and they plummeted in toward it to swing. Briefly, a second after, they dropped below the catwalk. The fireball blasted out of the hallway behind them, shooting all the way across the harbor and scorching the opposite wall. The line of the grappling hook was in the way, and it was quickly disintegrated under the intense heat. But it only been served them for a few seconds, and it done enough. They swung a little. Some of their vertical momentum converted to horizontal. They're heading straight towards the boat that was conveniently headed out for some kind of patrol duty. They landed on the roof, still moving fast. Bonbon turned it into a skid, sliding down the windshield and using her momentum to kick the front guard's pony out of his turret. Lyra just kind of flopped down, face planted, and counted herself lucky to not have any broken bones. Bonbon began wrestling with another guard. Get to the wheel and punch it. Lyra looked at her somewhat small clothes, then at the big sign manning the controls. He, on the other hand, took one look at Bonbon, dropped his comment across the deck, and slowly left the boat. He climbed onto the railing, saluted Lyra, and did a magnificent slide off into the water. Some ponies just know when to fold them. Okay, cool, Lyra muttered to herself. She climbed behind the controls. Frankly, they weren't complex, and the throttle was even conveniently marked. She pushed it all the way forward, and the boat jumped like a tack, had been stuck in its behind. The jolt shook Bonbon and the other pony she was wrestling with. Bonbon wrapped her forelegs around the railing, but the other pony couldn't get a grip until they left the boat. By now, the guards on land had managed to recover from their initial shock and were firing at the boat. Spray kicked up around them as magic missiles of an enchanted crossbow bolts impacted the water around them, hitting them only rarely. Don't try to challenge them, Bonbon yelled at the one. Just keep heading straight. We want to be far away from here when the missile explodes. Speaking of which, Twilight said to the Tantabus, it probably should have actually detonated now. Missiles don't take that long to launch. Yeah, the Tantabus nodded, but they'd be dead and she'd be awake and we wouldn't be here, and that's no fun. The boat broke free at the harbor. It was out in the sun. They were on an island dominated and centered by a volcano. Of course, there wasn't much in the way of security. Lyra and Bonbon's boat skipped over the waters of open ocean, meeting without any sort of resistance. Twilight illuminated the Tantabus stayed level by simply standing on the water. Lyra was still panting, although it was a bit less than before as she carefully angled the boat to avoid the choppiest course. She looked behind them at the rapidly receding island. Well, are we good? The volcano exploded. There were small fireballs at the peak of the mountain, probably where the saddle domes were, and the underground harbor, but they were soon dwarfed by the way the volcano simply shattered, blew apart from the inside out. The entire thing was consumed in immense conflagration, shooting high into the sky, turning the day orange. Large chunks of mountains soared through the air, and when they landed in the water, they kicked up splashes the size of cities. A shockwave visible by the waves, it kicked up, came across the water, flashed up at the near speed of the sound, and there was this sound, an earthly slam so loud, so impactful that Twilight could imagine some angry god spawning some poor mortal. But Lyra and Bonbon were safe. The shockwave rattled their boat a bit, and they had the lot on the dust and carried. But they were far enough away to avoid any other damage. Even the largest wave, thrown up by the rock, weren't much more than ripples by the time they reached the boat. Bonbon smiled, hit inside, and dropped to the ground. Yeah, we're good. The sun jumped forward. When everything settled down again, the sun was only half over their eyes, tinting the sky a rosy orange. Far in the distance, Twilight could see the land of some kind, but she didn't recognize it. She and the others were standing on the water, which was mirror smooth, right next to the boat. Lyra and Bonbon were basking on the red deck in the fading sunlight. It was small, just barely enough for both of them to spread out, but they managed. The boat was on autopilot, its motor quickly puttering as it headed toward land. So, Twilight said, should we ask what her dream was like? Luna shook her head. We don't need to. I can just tell she enjoyed it. We shouldn't interrupt her. She starred in her own action movie, crowed the Tantabus, or co-starred anyway. How would you not like that? But by not liking action movies, said Twilight, or getting shot at all that jazz. Well, she likes it, and I think she's happy. Lyra opened her eyes, looked towards Bonbon. So how do you feel? Lyra rolled over, climbed to her feet, and stared over the railing and said, finally took down, won't talk for good. We took her down. What's it feel like? Bonbon joined her at the railing. Well, satisfied, there's only one less cycle on the wall now. But also a little empty in a way. There wasn't any pony like her. I missed the thrill of the chase with her, and had to admit, once you get past the whole genocide, the Griffins thing, this plan wasn't that bad. After all, she was blown away by it. She grinned the stupid grin. Somebody who knows they just made a stupid joke and didn't care in the slightest. Lyra laughed. Oh, you. She moved a bit closer to Bonbon. So now that you've rescued me again, We need to find some way for me to repay you. You don't need to hear that, said Bob, feigning innocence. That's just what I do. But she moved a bit closer to Lyra. You can do what you do, but I can't do what I do. But I can't do what I do? Asked Lyra. Fox, scandalized. Come off it, she said. She lightly nudged Boban and fell over dramatically to the ground. Boban looked up at Lyra, smiling. I suppose that all depends. Is what you do to me as good as what I do to you? She made no attempt to get up. There's only one way to find out, shall we? I think we should. Then let's. Lyra rolled Bomba over and started deeply kissing her, moving down her body, her face, her chest, her belly, her... Oh. Twilight eyes widened and she turned her head one side. Okay, she whispered, mortified, putting a hoof up, block her eyes. I think this is a happy dream for her, and we've done here. The Tantabus wasn't happy about that, but I think it's just this happy dream for her, and we're done here. Luna seemed to agree, so the words had scarcely left Twilight's mouth. They were gone. That is chapter 4. I just apologize for being late on this. I've had to deal with school and projects. But I will have the last chapter of this wonderful fanfic, or finfic, done next week. Thank you. I'll see you guys again in Adventures and Stories. Goodbye.